Muslim values of charity, of generosity, of sacrifice that are so much part of Eid al-Adha are Canadian values, recognizing how deeply harmed and impacted our communities are with this ongoing violence and war against Palestinians that we're seeing. I also want to highlight that there is an Islamophobia industry, and this is also very important for your viewers to be aware of, where there's in fact millions, maybe billions of money being pumped into anti-Muslim think tanks, articles, books, etc.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Ahmed Ramadan for Muslim Network TV, and this is GTA Muslims Today. We have a very special guest with us today. Amira Elghawaby is Canada's Special Representative on Combatting Islamophobia. I know one of the things that disturb me is the amount of violence and attention that our Muslim sisters get, especially when it comes to Islamophobia. So that's very disturbing, and hopefully, we'll continue to work together to, combat that and not have them bear the brunt of Islamophobia. My next question is, well, you mentioned your meeting with MP Mark Carney. Is there anything else? I don't know how much you can disclose. Maybe you could want to speak about it in a broader sense and what you took out of the meeting with him. But is there anything else you wanted to highlight about that?
Right. So he's actually, he's a member of parliament, but he's the prime minister. So it was wonderful to meet with him. He had actually attended a few weeks prior to our meeting the Eid event for Ottawa Muslims, where he actually made some really important statements, where he made it very clear that Muslim values of charity, of generosity, of sacrifice that are so much part of Eid al-Adha are Canadian values. And he made a very strong statement of demonstrating, to your point, Ahmed, earlier, that Canadian Muslims, like all Canadians, simply want to give. They want to give back. Their values are about standing up for one another, bringing good to the society they live in. And so I started off our meeting with the Prime Minister, really thanking him for being so eloquent in the way that he spoke to our communities. He also raised Gaza in his remarks to those who'd gathered for the Eid prayer, recognizing how deeply harmed and impacted our communities are with this ongoing violence and war against Palestinians that we're seeing. So he talked about that at the Eid event. And so in our conversations, I provided him an overview of the work that we have been doing, which he is very engaged upon. We talked about, as I mentioned, issues around systemic solutions we're looking for on the charities file. And we talked about a range of other topics. I really was pleased to be able to talk to him about the contributions of Canadian Muslims, our long-standing history in this country, and the need for our communities to continue to participate fully and exercise our civil liberties, to raise issues that we care about. And in fact, I published on our website a full readout of that meeting so that people can go and have a look and read about the topics we exchanged. I talked about anti-Palestinian racism, anti-Arab hate as well, and the rise and the concern that we have around that issue. And so, again, really important to see the commitment by this government to these important aspects of social cohesion, and the importance of really not only attracting the best of the best talent in the world to our country. Canadian Muslims are doctors, engineers, academics, working in all manner of fields, science, etc. The list goes on and on, but retaining people in this country. And so if Islamophobia and hate and racism continue to harm, unfortunately, people may start thinking about, taking their talent and their expertise and going somewhere else. And we don't want to do that. Many of us love Canada so deeply and really believe that this is a very special place, not perfect, but it is a place that we have our rights, we have our freedoms that are protected. And so we had a really fulsome discussion. And I look forward to briefing him and my own minister, Minister Guilbeault, who is the minister responsible for Canadian identity. And I have had also very good conversation with him about the mandate. And so it's really important that we continue to work together. And I really do want to emphasize to our communities how critical it is that they stay informed. The strength of this office really comes from community. for you to be aware of what this office is doing for advancing our communities, the future of our own kids and grandkids is critical. So I also want to invite you, when you're on our website checking out our guide, to sign up for the newsletter because we regularly update communities. I'm on various platforms as well where I'm talking about my meetings and the issues that I'm raising so that everyone can be well informed and understand how this office is here to advance ensuring that our communities, again, are treated equitably like all other Canadians.
So I wanted to ask you about the media specifically, and a breach CJPME study found examples like CTV over-indexing Israeli voices by 62% and even avoiding using the word Palestine. The Globe, for instance, routinely used words like violent for the student encampments, but when it came to the police acting harshly, they remained neutral. With this kind of documented bias, what kind of changes do you think media outlets should implement to stop enabling these sort of harms and Islamophobia and APR?
Well, I think it's important to understand that our mandate is to advise the federal government. And so in that regard, the way the media conduct themselves, that is outside of my mandate. What I will say, though, is in the guide and in the work that we've been doing, we have highlighted how Islamophobia can indeed be perpetrated and proliferated through media outlets, through media narratives that depict our communities in very negative terms. So there is a section on media narratives in the guide. I also want to highlight that there is an Islamophobia industry. And this is also very important for your viewers to be aware of, where there's in fact millions, maybe billions of money being pumped into anti-Muslim think tanks, articles, books, etc. And this is also mentioned within our guide. And we talk about foreign actors even engaging in Islamophobic online campaigns here in Canada to promote and advance ideas around our communities that are very dangerous and basically add up to misinformation, disinformation. So I think there is a responsibility on all of us to be paying attention, and for individuals or organizations who are monitoring media to make sure that they are writing to these media, that they are speaking out, particularly when it comes to, for example, the CBC, which is our national broadcaster, making sure that your voice is heard, writing to ombudsperson, writing in and letting them know where you feel that there needs perhaps to be more balance. That is up to us all as Canadians to again engage, to raise our concerns. And I certainly did have a meeting with the past president of the CBC, Radio Canada, when there were issues being raised about concerns regarding bias in coverage. And we had a discussion about this. And so I think that that's been important in the sense of just making sure that our office is also bringing forward these concerns where we know that there will at least be a hearing to them, having folks and leadership listen to understand that this is how Canadian Muslims, and not only Canadian Muslims, but Canadians writ large, have viewed and consumed this type of content, and the reactions that we're seeing come back.
And I think this is the benefit and the effort that we're putting forward here at Muslim Network TV, which is also being proactive and reporting on our own stories. There's a lot of good going out in the community. GTA Muslims Today, for instance, focuses on Toronto and just the different people in the city that are doing so much good stuff, interesting stuff, from arts to storytelling to charities and a lot of the good that we're doing here. We're trying to highlight some of that. So just my last question to you, you did mention a few things during the interview that people can do, but if you have any message to our viewers that you want to tell them how to stay engaged, how to address Islamophobia, any message that you want to share with our viewers?
Yeah, I think that the most basic, simple message is just be engaged. Be engaged as much as you can. All of us have very busy lives, whether you're a student, whether you're, working, whether you're taking care of your kids, we all have very, very busy lives. But when it comes to ensuring that we're standing up for ourselves, for each other, for those principles that, again, that we cherish here in Canada around pluralism, democracy, religious freedom, human rights. I think that we have a responsibility to raise these issues in the spaces that we're in if we especially feel that there is a gap or there is a potential violation of those principles. And so really educate yourselves. I'm constantly learning myself. And constantly having really great conversations with young people and older people who are taking those initiatives. They're organizing employee networks to sort of help advance understanding. They're organizing, iftars for their colleagues or students at school. They're taking opportunities, for example, to donate and organize even blood drives for their communities to demonstrate and show our fellow Canadians how, in fact, Canadian Muslims continue to contribute in so many positive ways. And a lot of that negative narratives that we see constantly circulating, particularly on some of the platforms where there's now even less moderation against hate, that really is not an accurate picture. And so it really is up to each and every one of us, to the extent that we can, to be those ambassadors for all the very cherished values that we hold, which, again, to echo the Prime Minister, are indeed Canadian values.
Amira, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate your time. And we hope to have you back at some point in the future again.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. Thanks to your viewers.
And this is Ahmed Ramadan for Muslim Network TV and GTA Muslims Today. Please leave your comments below, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more exclusive interviews. Assalamu alaikum.